Okay, good evening and welcome to the April 8th Palmer Town Council meeting. Would everyone please rise? Pledge allegiance to the flag. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. First item is visitors' comments for items not on the agenda. Is there anyone who would like to speak?
Steve Cosmeter, Thorndike. I'd like to get the tail end of the last meeting here. You talked about a pickleball court at Legion Field or either playground or wherever. Who put that bug into your ear?
Something we've been talking about for probably 5 years, I believe.
5 years?
Yeah, and so at the where the old tennis courts are that aren't used as tennis courts anymore, to make that into a pickleball court. So we 2 weeks ago now, I guess it was, we did go as a council. We went and viewed the court area as well as the bathrooms at Legion Field. And at this point, we're waiting for some cost estimates to decide whether or not we move forward. And then there was some improvements that need to be done in the bathrooms, in both the men's and the women's side of the restrooms. The dividers for between the urinal and the sink are really rusted and pitted in the men's room. The lighting is a very small light like this that doesn't shed any lights. In the women's room, the door to the enclosure for the toilet opens inward, which basically makes it very hard. You literally have to maneuver your body to be able to get the door to close. So we talked about getting a cost estimate on additional new dividers. Potentially we don't know if we're going to do this, but pricing for stainless steel toilets, and then for the dividers in the women's room, just so they would be longer into the opened area, so there's not such that tight gap between the door opening and closing. And then the pickleball area, we are waiting to find out they were supposed to measure it to find out how many pickleball courts there could actually be there. And then we'll discuss after we get some price estimates, but we didn't get anything yet. And I think really because our DPW has been tied up at the Palmer Road incident. So hopefully by our next council meeting, we'll have that information.
Okay, so you're talking about the
What's
tennis
that?
courts. Now, you talking about the parking lot for Converse School, or is there another?
No, the parking lot that we were discussing was at the school complex over here at Palmer High and Old Mill Pond. And that was, Mr. Reed had brought up that the parking lot needed to be updated. That was actually something that was brought forward on the capital plan when we voted the budget last year, but because of the work we're doing on the track, they came to the conclusion when Mr. McNutt was here that we had to postpone doing that because of all the equipment that would be up there for the track project. And so I'm not sure I don't know how that's going to progress, if we're just going to do it in stages, because that's obviously a very large parking lot. There are some areas, I did drive up there, there are some areas that are more in need of of a new asphalt topping than other areas. There's a lot of areas that are totally rutted and then bumped out, but then there's other areas that, in my opinion, it wasn't bad. But again, I'm not a professional, but from driving, it seemed like there was, if we were going to do it piecemeal, there was certain areas that should be done first.
Okay, where's the money coming from for these pickleball courts?
So what we talked about, which again, we didn't take a vote yet, we're just getting pricing. The town received money through what's called ARPA, ARPA, which was the federal money that the town received during COVID. And so we had talked potentially of using some of that money. to do that pickleball court. People have been,
How much money is there in that fund?
I think there's about 1.4 million, 1.5 million.
Okay, so is Three Rivers gonna get a pickleball court? Or
No,
Bonzo?
so we're.
I won't even ask about Thorndike, 'cause that's another
Well,
question.
so that's an existing court area that seems to make sense to put something there. We are trying to not replicate what is in one village in every village. We're trying to put other things in there. If you have an idea for Thorndike, let us know.
I
But
have plenty
that's,
of ideas for Thorndike.
okay, well, you
I
can,
can't seem to get any traction, you know?
well,
If I can say something, what it's my
yeah, one sec, yeah.
Okay, now, this parking lot there, I understand you're taking money from the federal infrastructure.
It's not
money?
federal infrastructure money. It was American Recovery money during COVID. So that was, the town got I believe it was 2 installments of funds. At some point, we'll have to get a listing of what was specifically done with those projects. I don't know them all off the top of my head right now, but it is not infrastructure money. It's ARPA. It's 2 different things.
And what was that earmarked for?
It can be used for
Anything?
anything, yes.
And how much is in that fund?
1.5 million.
0.5 million? And do you have infrastructure money also?
No, there hasn't been any.
There's no infrastructure
Did you
money.
get anything from the state for that?
Just
It-
chapter 90.
The ARPA can also be used for infrastructure. If you look it up, ARPA funds it could be designated for roads, sewer,
It can be
this
used
and
for,
that.
it can be used for everything, which is what I
Right.
just said.
Any lawful purpose except for debt, right? So you can't use it for debt payments.
But again, we haven't made any decisions. The pickleball courts is something that has been talked about for quite a few years. When we were doing, you had actually brought it up at our last meeting, when we were doing the open sessions for people to come in and talk to us. That was one thing that people did indicate
I think
that
it's
they
spelled out in the
were.
master plan too, right? In the recreation on the master plan? Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, that's where we stand at this point, but nothing's been,
It's just that there's so many things that need to be done
yep, there
as
is.
far as infrastructure and spending money and stuff like that. The priorities just seem to be skewed, you know? They just-
The biggest thing that Barbara hasn't mentioned is that money needs to be appropriated by the end of the year and then spent within a certain amount of time, or we have to give it all back.
No.
That's the catch. So a lot of the
You spend it
larger,
on something,
right, but a lot of the larger
Yeah.
projects that we have to do won't fall into that time frame, so we lose the money. We don't want that.
So I will also say that since we had that site visit, we then had the issue on Palmer Road, and we are waiting. We do not have the cost of that issue, but I'm sure it's going to be quite expensive. This has been going, I mean, there's paving being done this week, so
done.
once the,
Open
did
today.
it finish this afternoon? Okay,
The road is open as of 6 p.m.
okay. So,
is that on the road between Cheneyville and Palmer Road? Is that where it happened?
so we need to get those bills to see what that's going to cost the town, because I have a feeling that's going to be quite expensive, and we may be using that ARPA money for that. So we realize that priorities need to be set, but the problem is this town has a lot of priorities well beyond the amount of money that we have. So,
Yes. Some of them are in Thorndike. Is that roof on the wastewater treatment plant going to get started?
yes,
I
so
was
we,
instructed today, actually, I was one of the workers that they were over there looking at it and starting on it.
I do not know that. Yeah, I don't.
so I mean, at this point, you know, Brad is trying to come up to speed. This is his 6th day. So we have a lot of things to get up to speed on with him. But yes, that project is moving forward.
Okay. And one other thing I read in the paper about the Bonzo and their water problem there. Is the town looked into that and taken any responsibility for the poor water quality and sealing up that dump?
Do you want to respond to that?
Yeah, so this got brought up literally my second day here, and I think there needs to be, a joint meeting between the Bondsville Commission and the council, just so we all are on the same page of what's going on here. So DEP, one of the landfills is not capped, that is correct. That requires testing every 6 months to be done. There has not been a test since we started that has yielded an issue that would require us to flag. It didn't require any, nothing tested high for contaminants that was an area of concern. There was one time back in 2015 that we had the choice to either provide bottled water to one household, which we did have to do for a little while, but the mitigation strategy was put in a filtration system, which the town opted to do, and then therefore there's no bottled water obligation for any homes on State Street or Emery Street.
So there is no problem with the water on State Street in Bondsville?
There's no tests that have yielded any issue.
I drink it. I'm right there.
Well, that's what I read in the paper the other day.
That opinion piece that they posted?
Huh?
That opinion piece that went into the
Yeah,
journal? Yeah.
It's an opinion. That's what that
that's
is.
just an opinion, it's
Right.
not a fact.
Well, you can't believe everything you read.
He's just telling you the
Opinions,
science.
so. Right.
Yeah, tests are
Yeah, that was
negative.
the
so.
backstory. In 2015, there was one house that we would have to continue to provide bottled water for a short period of time. The town opted to put a filtration system in that mitigated that issue. Yep.
Thank you.
Oh, wait, Butch, I'll just jump in then, I guess I have to. Back to the pickle park, for everyone paying their taxes, we gotta come up with amenities for they do. Remember, 40 years ago, there was so much to do around here. Now there's hardly anything, so we're trying to bring stuff back no matter what it is. And if you wanna see how the pickleball works, do you know the way from Three Rivers to Ludlow? The tennis courts back there near Oscar's Pizza around that area, they play pickleball there, and see how many people show up, lots of them. If you'd like to play a game with me, we'll try it.
Yeah, we need it. It's
We
just that,
need exercise,
it's just that, you
I
can
know.
spread it around,
yeah.
that's what I'm
Well,
saying.
everyone can come to that location
No,
too.
but you gotta go to Palmer, everything, the villages,
Inexpensive.
like I said, the villages are not getting their share of the tax dollar,
Yeah.
not even close.
So I'll close with two pieces for public comment. If the council would like, I'm more than happy to put together an ARPA packet for next board meeting, so everyone has exactly what has been spent to date and what's available. So that way it gets out to the public and everyone's on the same page with that. And just to add on for the testing component, PFAS, it was to my knowledge, this was the first time it was tested. I think 2 weeks ago, they ran on State and Emory, and the lab results are sent from our third-party consultant to DEP to review. So I don't have the official DEP approval, but the lab test that the project manager for the lab testing said that there was no levels that were a cause for concern. So again, they have to still submit it to DEP, but PFAS going forward, it may be an issue, but from the preliminary tests that we had done so far, that'll keep reoccurring every 6 months. There was no area of concerns right now, level of concern.
And I'd love to hear some of your ideas. I mean, you say you have ideas for Thorndike. We would love to hear them at some point. So definitely share them, because if you're not saying anything to anybody, then we don't know, and then we can't make it happen
Wow.
or try to make it happen.
The ideal property to do something with is the Thorndike Grammar School. As far as it's in the center of the village, and it is property that could be used for recreational purposes, because you can't do anything with the playground on Church Street, and that's the only property left around. And you people seem to be stonewalling, and you're going to put it up for bid, and it's gone on for 30 years, and so.
Taken. Note taken, yeah. We understand. And we're working on, right now, on unloading that property, because it's town property right now and it's not on the tax roll. So we would love to unload it to somebody who wants to do something with that property, and we collect taxes on the property, so.
Wow, it could be used for recreation too.
Correct. Right. We'll see what happens.
I gotta see recreation there. Obviously, we're not gonna get a senior center, but I wish the town would keep it. I realize it's probably gonna cost a lot of money to demolish that building, but the property's more valuable without the building there, obviously.
We'll have to see what happens. You never know what's going to happen.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Butch.
Thanks.
Hi,
Hi.
I'm John Comerford. I live at 9 South High here in Barnesville. I have one suggestion for the town. Because Church Street, the bridge is closed, you take a right and you go up Commercial Street and you come out to High Street. Well, that's a very dangerous intersection because you have to go so far out of the roadway to see if somebody's coming from your right. So I'd like to suggest that we put a convex mirror on the pole that's directly at the corner of High Street and Commercial Street, so you can see what's coming from your right. Then you don't have. And to be honest with you, I've been really surprised that somebody hasn't had a major accident there yet.
There has.
There has been, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right, we cut back the bushes on that neighbor's property.
That's
but
a whole other-
I know that's a
yeah.
whole other thing. Like,
Yeah.
I know
They
that
keep
bush
going back.
overgrows and then it
Yeah.
causes an issue.
It's
You
not
can't see-
necessarily-
You can't see that way.
Right.
Of course, the bridge, once it's open, will probably alleviate a lot of people going that way. But I go up there very often because my daughter lives on High Street, and you have to creep out, and you have to be very careful.
Sworn
and
there
I-
was a mirror there at one point. Wasn't there one in the past?
I think the
A while
mirror's
back.
There's a mirror down further.
down a little bit further.
That
Down a
doesn't-
little further, gotcha.
It doesn't help
benefit-
that intersection.
Benefit that intersection.
Yeah.
That's a good
So-
Yeah,
idea.
you're safer going up School
Yeah,
Street.
Makes
Yep.
sense.
Yeah.
Good idea.
So, okay,
He's got
That
it.
and
he wrote it down.
that in a different
You're on top of it, Brad.
in a different. The majority of the issue is that obviously is the drivers. It has not.
No, that's not the majority of the issue.
They're flying through
No.
there too
No,
fast.
that's not the majority of the issue.
Because-
the majority of the issue is the safety of getting up there. The majority of I'm very careful when I go up.
Right? Yeah, I hear
Okay.
it. But
I'm a safe driver. It's not the driver. It's the intersection. And I'm sure Brad's going to.
I believe it's a little both. You can pull up there and look. I've been doing it my whole life. Also, you pull up there, you turn, so you come up, turn hard right with your blinker on, so you're looking up there, and it looks like it's okay to go. And as you go, here comes somebody at 50 miles an hour.
Well,
You know,
that's another issue, but I don't think that's the main issue. I think the main issue is the safety of the intersection. So, thank you very
We'll
much.
look into it, thank you. Anybody else? Going once, going twice. Nope, all right. Next is minutes. We have the September 18th minutes. Issues on those? Seeing none, do I have a motion to approve?
Make
So
a motion to approve.
second.
Motion by Matt, second by Phil. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions. Next, we have September 25th, or 26th, sorry. 25th, yep.
September 25th. Yeah.
Yeah, 25th. At 5 and 6.
The only reason I remember this is my birthday.
Okay, there you go. All right. Any corrections on that?
No.
Seeing none, do you have a motion?
Make a motion.
Motion by Matt,
Second.
second by Carl. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Next is the October 16th meeting minutes. Any discussion on those? Seeing none, do I have a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Phil.
Second.
Second by Matt. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? It's under old business. We failed to do this at the last meeting, but I just want to publicly, even though he's not here to hear it, thank Bob Reed for his work as the interim town manager while we were in transition. I think he did a very good job for the town. He kept things moving, and he brought forth several issues that the council needs to continue to work on
I think you definitely went above
as
and
we
beyond.
transition, yeah.
Yeah, he
So
did excellent.
I just, I did come on the first, when his first day with Brad, I did come up and thank him for, everything he did for us, but I understand it was a paid position, but I do agree with you. He got paid to be here 3 days a week, and he definitely worked well over 3 days a week. So anyway, I just wanted to state that. Okay, new business, so, introduction of our new town manager, Brad Brothers, so welcome, Brad. As I said earlier, Brad has been on board since April 1st. He has a lot of things to hit the ground running on, and I know he's already started to do that. We'll be starting on the budget on the 17th.
Yeah.
So if you, as a council, have any issues, please bring those forward. But welcome aboard, Brad. I don't know if you wanted to say anything, or...
No, I just want to thank the board for the opportunity. Palmer's always been special to me. Graduated in 2008. Have been here since I was 3 years old, moved here with my mom, and I'm excited. A lot to do in the community, a lot going on. So,
Good, welcome.
thank you.
Okay, now, next item is Palmer Street, or Palmer Road, as we call it. An update on the repair.
Yeah, so the board kind of stole I keep saying the board, I apologize. It's going to take me a couple
It's
meetings to
okay.
get through that. The council, you guys already stole my thunder on that. So really, I just want to thank really everyone who was involved in that project. To turn that project around as fast as they did is really unbelievable. I know a lot of favors were called in from our contractors, and it was a lot of 24-hour shifts, I think for 3 days in a row, and then we got to Easter. But really, everyone stepped up, and it just shows community values and really what Palmer's all about. So it was nice to see in my first couple days here, really Palmer at work. 600 feet of road was paved. It's now live. And just for everyone's knowledge, the sinkhole happened on March 28th, and the cause was, the source was a collapsed 15-inch stormwater drain about 40 feet uphill from the sinkhole location. And everyone knows water finds the path of least resistance and the lowest source, and that was the area of the sinkhole. So everything has been cleaned up. The trains actually were rolling on April 2nd. So within 5 days, we had trains rolling through there again. I will say that with all the time that in the rapid pace that we fix this issue, we also can expect some pretty big bills coming. And with that being said, I would recommend that we hold off on appropriating any ARPA funds until all of the bills come in. I met with Todd Smola, Rep Smola, on Friday. He did not feel like we were going to have any state funding available to us. I worked with Maya. They're coming out to do a site walk, but preliminary phone call discussion, they did not feel that a utility would qualify under our policy. And really, I do expect, I don't want to put a number on it, but I do think there's going to be a pretty big dollar amount behind this. And ARPA would probably be the best source if we're not able to find any state or federal funding. So more to come on that. Usually billing for these projects takes 3 to 4 weeks. So by next meeting, I'm hopeful to have all the bills in place, and that can be part of the ARPA presentation if it's available.
I do have to say, living right there, that they have moved more material in those days than I've ever seen anywhere outside of a landfill or, a large construction site, because there was piles of rock all the way up the street because they had to stage it because they could only move it during certain times of the day. It was ridiculous. I've never seen anything like that scale of a project that fast. It was a lot of loud nights, let's put it that way, for the neighbors moving rocks, but it was definitely worth it in the end because everything is put back together now. But it was wild.
And then for any of the residents who had the front of their sidewalks, I'm sure trucks were everywhere, all of that is going to be seeded. So just so the board knows, we were not going to leave it as is conditions. We're going to reseed.
Right, we got the update from Matt about it. All the aprons were taken care of, and obviously, the seed and everything is obviously your last step on buttoning up the area.
Yeah, but as of 6 p.m. today, the road is now open. The signs are all down. It's back to being a speedway.
Yeah, I just wanted to add, so, Friday morning, I called Rep. Smola on my way into work. He called me back within probably 10 to 15 minutes, and met him at the site at 1 o'clock that afternoon. Again, he took pictures. He indicated that he would do what he could, but as Brad just said, it's unlikely that it'll qualify for MEMA reimbursement. But I just, he did come immediately to the site. I also, I just wanted to, as Matt kind of alluded to, it was very loud. And, I did hear from several people that, the neighbors being, so understanding really helped all the workers. They were trying to get things done as quickly as they could. But as Matt just said, there was a lot of rocks and dirt and stone and everything else to move. And then I also just want to thank our DPW director, Matt Morse, because I thought he did a phenomenal job of keeping us up to date as to what was going on. And then again, as Brad said, to all the workers who, it was definitely a team effort. And without that team, I don't think things would have gotten done as quickly as they were. And it really was really a big job. And
I honestly think being a small town with so many skilled workers that are in our backyard, that was why we got that done so fast. That we picked up the phone, we called Northern Tree, we had ACS, we had P&H Excavating, all our local players that came right away, drop whatever they were doing to help us out. So
it was very impressive. I was down there Friday, and then Jess and I actually went down on Saturday afternoon, just as everybody was packing up and heading out for the holiday for Sunday. But it was really impressive, the amount of work that had been done between, Friday at 1 o'clock and then probably 4:30 on Saturday. It was really unbelievable. So just wanted to mention that. Anybody else on that? Okay. Next item is Resolution 2024-08 to designate Town Manager Brad Brothers as the Municipal Hearings Officer for the Town of Palmer. So this is just the hearings officer position has historically been the town manager. So do I have a motion to designate Brad Brothers as the municipal hearings officer? Motion by Carl,
Second?
second by Phil. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Thank you. Okay, next item on the agenda is Resolution 2024-09 to transfer $606,590 from the sewer surplus for boiler replacement at the wastewater treatment plant. Brad, do you want to talk about that?
Yes, so we had, I believe, 4 or 5 bidders, and the low bid came in at the 606 number. It did include one alternate in that price point, and that was for a pump. I don't have a ton of detail on that. I know this is the first time I believe that this has been brought in front of the board. So I do know going forward, we'll look for appropriation from you guys before we put out the dollar amount, unless there's a comment on that I'm wrong on.
yeah, because I could have sworn that we talked about boiler before, and we were waiting on design and all that still, weren't we?
Did the board approve design
I
money
don't think we
originally?
had any
We-
estimates.
We didn't have anything, right? But we talked about it. It came up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
knew
know
it was
it's been
coming.
brought up before.
Yeah.
So this is for the installation, or is this for the boiler itself?
This is for the boiler itself and install.
It seems low compared to what we were told.
Originally,
I thought
700 to 750 was the estimate I found in the file.
Gotcha.
And some bids came in above that. I think 2 or 3 came in below, but the lowest one was the 606.
Okay, sounds good to me. I do remember this coming up in conversation, so.
Yeah, but I think that we did not appropriate any funds.
Correct. I do not remember appropriating. I thought the only funds that we had appropriated was design back in the day.
Probably. That's what,
And
that's what
that's- yeah.
Marlene had thought, yeah.
Right. Got it.
So like I said, going forward, we'll put it out, and then you guys actually be rescinding your authorization for dollar amounts, so.
And it comes, so,
If you approve 750.
Oh, I got you. Yes,
606,
if we
would-
did, I got
exactly.
you. I don't think we did.
no, apparently
I don't think we
not.
did, yeah.
But it just, it doesn't make sense to go out to bid for something the council hasn't found support on, and then everyone's just wasted their time.
Right,
And
that's
it
what I was
costs mon-
asking.
And it costs money.
Right.
Yeah, so I'm not sure what happened here, but anyway. All right, do I have a motion to transfer $606,590 from the sewer surplus for boiler replacement at the wastewater treatment plant?
So moved.
Motion by Phil,
Second.
second by Jess. Any discussion?
Really quick, what's the balance of that account? Do we know?
It was 1.5 million prior to this.
Okay, perfect. I'm just curious on where we're sitting. Thanks.
All in favor?
I
Opposed? Abstentions? Thank you. Next is Resolution 2024-10, which is to transfer $71,710.11 from free cash to the opioid settlement special revenue fund. Brad?
Yep. So, as you guys know, there was a 20-year commitment from a couple different pharmaceutical retailers, and the town will be receiving X amount of dollars over the course of 20 years. So, in FY23, the town received the 71,000 and change. What we're looking to do originally, this was a problem in all towns throughout and cities throughout the state, was there was no guidance on how to deposit that money. So everyone actually was putting into the general fund. Now DOR came back and said that you can create a special revenue account. So any money going forward will be deposited in that. This is just a one-time transfer from money that was originally put in the general fund that's in free cash now to that special stabilization fund. Now, with that being said, there's going to be a lot more groundwork we have to do for the opioid money, because there is groups you have to set up in committees in the public. So that still has to be worked through, and I'm be glad to bring that to the board to kind of game plan. In Plymouth, we did a mini grant series, which worked out very well. So I can bring what that would look like if the board wants, the board, council wants to go in that direction. But again, there needs to be a lot of community input on how these funds are spent, and that process will take place as we move forward.
Yeah, the 71,000 though was like a drop in the bucket. That really won't do a thing to fight the opiate
But
problem.
it's reoccurring, so it's 71,000
year?
every year for 20
Okay,
years. Yeah.
That'll pay for the administration.
Not necessarily, because you can, if you do mini grants on it, there's no one actually. It's really like a volunteer subcommittee, so there's no one's taking administrative costs out of that, and you can give $5,000 to let's just use Palmer High School if they wanted to have a speaker come in, something like that someone could
makes
apply
sense.
for, and the committee would grant them money, and they would run that through our finance department.
And they can show different avenues where to get rehabilitated and all that
Exactly.
sort of thing. That's smart.
So it's almost going to be like the Arts Council, where we have the other. What's that?
Like a
group called?
cultural council,
Cultural council,
yeah.
right?
So where they give out mini grants?
Yeah, they give out the mini grants, right? You apply for a grant, they give out the mini grant, right?
And again, that's just one
No, I'm
philosophy.
just-
I like
right.
it because you spread the wealth, and you're able to hit many organizations that do good work in the community.
Okay, do you have a motion to transfer $71,710.11 from free cash to the opioid settlement special revenue fund?
Make a motion. Second.
Motion by Mark, second by Jess. All in favor? Opposed? Abstentions? Next is the appointment of Brown Brothers to the Liquor License Commission. So again, historically, the town administrator, I'm sorry, I don't know where I am either, Brad. The town manager has been one of the members of the Liquor License Commission. So do I have a motion to appoint Brad Brothers to the Liquor License Commission?
Make a motion.
Motion by Matt, second by Carl. Discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Subcommittee reports. So I already let you all know what budget subcommittee will be starting. Miscellaneous correspondence.
So I have a mix of miscellaneous correspondence and counselors roundtable.
Okay.
So I have an issue. I thought that the town was sponsoring, co-sponsoring something, the fundraiser that's at AMVETS Friday night for Wreaths Across America.
Okay.
And I come to find out that it's not. It's just that the concert guy booked the concert, right? And that our veteran agent, who was trying to raise funds through raffles and tickets and all this other stuff, is told that she can't do that. But I know that we sat here a few months ago with the rec director talking about how to set up accounts where they could put money for charging people tickets or something, right? So this was supposed to be a collaboration between departments. Clearly it didn't happen, and now we have a private organization, well, public-private, but not town-related, that's now taking on the responsibility of making the town a sponsor for Wreaths Across America. We're just done. I'm done dealing with the nonsense. I'm done dealing with people saying, yeah, you can do that. We're going to help you. We saw this magic rec plan that said we're going to have a concert, which was nothing. It was garbage, right? So, for everybody in the public, there is a fundraiser that's free. I guess it's donation only now. At AMVETS this Friday. That we're trying to get the town, which other towns do too. So now I'm curious as to how Ware does it, Ludlow does it, all these other towns became sponsors for Wreaths Across America. You guys know what that is? Okay. They'll come in, we have to purchase wreaths, they come in with the big tractor trailers, and it's a whole team thing. The town plasters all the cemeteries with wreaths. So that leads me into my next issue, is I would really like to encourage the community, because I've heard concerns from the people and my own concerns of the effectiveness of our rec department. Okay? We had this great plan that, from what I heard, was the best thing to come out of council chambers since whenever. That's pretty much junk. It's all concerts. I'd really like to know how much those concerts cost the town, and if I were a person buying tickets, what per person that attended these things was really what was the gain, right? What's the effectiveness of this? Because that's what we have. We have a concert planning committee, something. And I really don't understand how these departments, the veteran agent and the rec group, couldn't figure this fundraiser out. So that's where I am. Totally was a huge proponent of bringing this rec department back. I just don't see where this is going, and I think we really need to stop the bleeding, as in salary, benefits, and budget. So, my concern, not just mine, I've got lots of feedback from the community. I'm really disappointed in how this whole thing this week came off. I'm just disappointed. And me personally, being involved in AMVETS, I would rather just do fundraising outside of the town hall and take care of our veterans that way.
Anybody else?
Is this the correct time to talk about the train situation meeting we had? Okay, it was a very productive meeting. There, and this gentleman, yeah, and Ben Hood, and it looks like it's gonna go very smooth, and it was very nice to attend, and I'm glad I'm part of it. And it's gonna go smooth, seamless, I might say.
That would be nice.
It is, yeah. Very nice bunch of people.
Right. Anybody else?
I did stop in and visit Brad, and as he said, he's going to get us the information of what we originally received for ARPA funds, what it was spent on, and hopefully we do end up having a meeting with Bonneville Water Department, and again, sort of like you're saying, hopefully moving forward in the future, we have more meetings with maybe the planning department of what's coming up. You know, I was letting know there's other possible buildings going to. I think it's the old Murtowski's property, that a development there. But just so we know before we start spending ARPA money and this and that on different things, of what is actually transpiring in the town. And I guess I know you're saying, you know, to use this money for this last incident that just happened on Palmer Road. I guess my question, if we didn't have this ARPA money, what would we do as a town to pay for this? And I just wanted to read really quick the eligibility uses of the ARPA funds. Revenues for the provision of government services to the extent the reduction in revenues due to COVID relative to revenues collected in most recent years, emergencies, COVID-19 expenditures, negative impacts of COVID, including assistance to small businesses. Were any small businesses ever assisted with any of this money? Households, hard-hit industries, economic recovery, pay for premium for essential workers, investment in water, sewer, and broadband infrastructure. So obviously I'll see when we get what money we had and what it was spent on. You know, were any businesses were asked to shut down and this and that. What help was this money actually used for? Where did it go to? And as you know, I'm a proponent for the water line to get put in down State Street, to have that Forest Lake project happen, due to the fact that after the 5 to 7 year build out, meaning it's going to take them 5 to 7 years to build it out and sell everything, that the town, by investing, let's say theoretically we use the 1.5 million, your return is going to be, at this date and time, is going to be 1.5 mil in taxes and no effects to your schools. And also take care of any future issues of the dumps, and being able to expand on, as you go under the underpass there, I think it's the property to the left there, a big 40 unit, I think if I'm not mistaken, misspeaking, it was a 40 unit building that somebody wants to put in there. So moving forward, I just say, you know, to be more known of what projects are coming to the town, how to support them. As far as what you're saying about the rec department.
To your point about the planning department, we didn't know until that night that the
Right,
Forest Lake
and
guy was coming to even talk.
I don't want to get into a piss and match or whatever, but supposedly they were told. But anyways, the bottom line is hopefully, you know, with our new manager, that we will be kept more in tune of what's going on with different things going on in town, and you know, be more knowledgeable of how to help grow the town. And
I would love to watch the planning board meetings if they were recorded.
they should be.
They absolutely should be, because
And
I
that's-
don't
I'm
always.
thinking that's something that, as the council, could we not make it that all meetings are recorded?
I don't think we
Aren't
can.
they supposed to be?
I think it would be hard to enforce because it's another elected board, but, I mean, I watch school committee meetings in my free time, and I watch a lot of public meetings for my full-time job. So I think, to your point about staying up to date, I would absolutely watch planning board meetings.
There's a
I don't
huge
always.
distaste in the town population's mouth of our planning process.
Absolutely.
So I encourage the planning board to record their meetings so we can watch them online. And if they want to have a joint meeting with us, then we can absolutely entertain having a joint meeting. I think maybe that would have been a better way to position that
Right.
meeting instead
Absolutely.
of just, there was some miscommunication.
I was under the assumption when they were posting it that there was an invite that was going to be put out to
Yeah.
the council. Whatever transpired, I don't know, but
Yeah.
I'm just saying, move forward. It would be really nice, and I agree with you that, you know, all your meetings. So whoever wants to watch a planning board meeting or whatever, to stay in tune. Hey, look, this is coming to town, but it's really not something that's great, but it's getting pushed through, and you know,
Yeah.
without being able, without going to it and try to stay, you know, a working person, try to stay up on what's going on in your town. You know, they're relying on us. It's really hard to work a full-time job and pay your bills and this and that and try and stay up to date of, okay, this is going on at the planning department, this is going on here, you know.
Yep.
So, while we're talking about water, I think it's a great idea to start thinking about consolidating the water departments. The biggest problem right now is that there's infrastructure issues in every single village. Three Rivers is $1 million and something plus project to replace the tank or to refurbish the tanks.
Which
Bondsville's-
they've gotten money
Well, we appropriated
alone, through, not Three Rivers, Bondsville, I'm going to say, I'm
Right.
sorry, has gotten money, low interest loan to replace their tank. So that's going to be happening up on Jim Ash.
So that's good, right? So Bondsville's got issues. We know about Bondsville's issues. Three Rivers is putting on their annual meeting to raise and appropriate some sum of over $1 million for their tank. We have Brownwater and Palmer. We have people complaining about water quality. We have infrastructure issues in all of the villages. I think now is the time for everybody in the community to get involved because we as a town cannot do it on our own.
Right.
The citizens in every village need to start going to their prudential committee meetings and need to start demanding or dissolving the water districts so that the water districts can become one water district because the town can't, you know, it may be easier for one district versus 4 districts right now because there's 4 water districts in town. Consolidate to one water district, everybody's rates will level out, and then the infrastructure money can be put towards infrastructure as a whole instead of infrastructure as a village. Because that's the problem right now. We could be duplicating efforts in money where we have water supply that can supply more of the area than just the village that we're in. But we don't know that because we've always been working in a village mentality. So my suggestion, right, because Todd Smola is on board, he said he'd help us write legislation to dissolve the districts, is start with the water departments and start combining to get to one water district so that we can start putting that infrastructure money to good use. But it has to come down to the residents. We as a town have no control over the districts.
It has to start at each individual water department district. As 10 years ago, whatever, Tate and Howard did a study for Thorndike, Three Rivers, and Bondsville. They weren't going to dissolve each district per se, but they were going to combine to be one district where you had, instead of 369 commissioners, now you had 3 commissioners, 1 from each village, because for whatever reason they can't lose the village mentality. But once you were to combine them, even if they, let's say it was one water district and it wasn't run by the town, which,
Right, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm proposing.
Now, with that happening, as you're saying, their ability to garner more funds and grant monies to fix something
A lot more goes up
is
more.
quadrupled.
Right.
For the more and more customers, you know.
Right, you leave
in,
it as an
in them
enterprise.
years, I will
Right.
say, Thorndike, Three Rivers, and Bondsville have worked together to where
There's interconnects.
all the
there's feeding, right,
interconnections,
exactly.
correct.
Bondsville
but
gets their
there's
water.
a long way to
right.
go where,
Right.
you know, it's not like we have Diamond National running no more and Tam Brands and all of these other things where as a kid you walked down Commercial Street, Thorndike, and you had Charlie's Variety, you had Topers, you had the barbershop, Bobby Lord's, you had the meat market, you had, you know,
Right.
everything. You had the gas station at the very end of the street. Them days are gone.
But we're getting to the point now where the water infrastructure in town is so bad that it's hampering us for expanding commercially.
We've been saying this for
I
years.
know, but we as a council can
5
talk about it,
years,
but we
at
have to
least.
get the citizens to start participating in their local village government because it's not controlled by us; it's controlled by the prudential
So-
committees in each village.
I'm imagining each one of us sitting here, me as in Thorndike, I could go before their next meeting to. You'd have to get a question put on their next election to combine.
Yeah, it has to go on their town meeting or whatever,
right.
annual meeting warrant.
Right, annual meeting warrant that you want this to transpire.
Do you think that the public knows this information that you know? Because I don't think they do.
I don't think.
No, I think a lot of people.
To have the public
Yeah.
support you, you need to get this information out to them.
I don't think there's a lot of people that understand how the fire districts actually work.
I personally think it's, we got all these post office, all these fire departments, all the what, I never understood it.
Well, the post office thing we can't do anything about because that's every village has their own zip code, right?
I never understood how you could have so many high streets.
Or
Main
River
streets.
Street. There's like 6 of them, I think.
Well, I can tell you that because I'm on the fire department. So it's the first number of your address that tells you what village you're in.
Really?
Yep,
Okay.
I know that one.
But that only changed that wasn't always like that, right?
Right.
They started adding the thousands and stuff like that.
Right, like 4 and Thorndike is for
Right, the
Thorndike.
1, 2, 3, and 4 in front of your number is what village you're in.
Every time I see a police car go by, I salute them because they gotta know where they're going. I have no idea where they're going.
Right, right.
If I could just throw out that you're on an uphill battle,
Mm-hmm.
as I know you know, it's a major part of the master plan, as you are, that as well. The implementation committee has tried to sit with all 4 districts. We have gotten 2, Three Rivers and Palmer, to come in and sit with us to go over the possibility of doing this consolidation, or at least a consolidation where all 4 districts start by doing all their purchasing as one. Just so you can save costs rather than going to 4 different pipe people or whatever it is they need.
Meters, whatever.
Whatever it is, so
Right.
if everybody bought from one, the price should come down because you're giving them one.
And that's what Thorndike did with meters. Is we ended up getting the same type of meters that Bondsville has, so that the same reader could be used for all of them. But
We were trying to meet with the head of the district.
Mhm.
Each one. We never heard back from Thorndike. We tried multiple times. We tried with Bondsville, and we never got anywhere with them as well, except that they did accept that fact that we'd send them a questionnaire and they would send us the answers. That's 4 or 5 months ago.
Right.
No, we still haven't gotten anything back from them.
The problem, though, what I see is that the more infrastructure that breaks down, the more people in those villages are going to pay. The rates are going to go through the roof. You're going to have to pay for all the broken infrastructure. And as one district, at least you can pool your money into one enterprise fund and be able to fix the infrastructure versus one village at a time.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Right. And it'll level off the rates if everybody's paying the same rate.
And that's hard to understand as well. You got 4 villages, each one pays a different amount.
Because everybody's doing different projects and taking out different loans, and then you got to pay out the loans, right? It's very deep and it gets deep, but we have support from the state, from Todd, who said he'd help us with the legislation. It's protected under legislation right now, the districts.
They have to do it.
Right. It has to start right at the local level, and from there, then we can fix things, right? So.
Okay.
Thorndike, I'm pretty sure Thorndike's, they did a project about 10 years ago, and I think they owe Country Bank something like $20 million yet for that project. So you got a village with a $20 million bill.
Mm-hmm.
You're gonna spread that around 4 villages?
Well, it would if it was. Those are some of the nuances that would have to be played out. Like we wouldn't know, right? So.
It's a very common theme, though. This town has been doing business the way it's been doing business for a long time. And I think we're all at the point where it's not just the water. It's
The egos for
everything we do in town has to be looked at closely
Every
because
department.
there is a lot of infrastructure needs coming down the line that none of us have any clue where the money's going to come from. So we got to think smarter and put our
Yeah,
heads
Palmer
together.
Road was just a taste,
Exactly.
right?
Makes sense.
bring up, that
Yeah.
road. I don't want to rain on anybody's parade, but was there a problem with maintaining these sewer lines?
It was a stormwater drain.
It was a
Right.
clay pipe that
Right.
collapsed.
Clay pipes?
Clay.
And they don't even know how long it's been collapsed because all the rain we've been having, it literally blew out the whole side of the hill and it was flowing into the river.
I just figured, if the sewer department, if they scope those lines, or...
Well, that is one thing that Matt, when I talked to Matt, because Matt was on scene pretty much the whole time, is that he's going to have the guys start scoping the lines to make sure that we don't have any issues and start doing inventory.
Preventive maintenance program.
Very important.
All right, well, we could talk about this all night,
Yeah.
but we're not going to. So, I did just want to say this, though. I did reach out to Rick Light who is is part of the cottage project. I did reach out to him in March. He was totally aware that we were in transition between, an interim town manager to a permanent town manager, and, he was fine with waiting until Brad got on board to then have a sit-down meeting with his team. So I don't want people to think that there wasn't correspondence with that group. I know Bob had multiple conversations too. We had a gentleman who came to our last meeting, explained it to him also, but it did not seem prudent to me to have an interim town manager involved with discussions for something that is going to continue long after he was going to be gone. And so that was a decision that I made. But again, for what I thought was for the best decision for the community.
I think
So-
Phil's talking about internal.
No, I know,
workings of the
but I'm
town.
just
and-
saying, so, and as far as the planning board meeting, I did through Bob find out that there was supposed to be a meeting, a planning board meeting that the council was going to be invited to. And I did not receive I heard that there was going to be
Yeah,
a
yeah.
meeting, but, so I don't know what that breakdown was, but it wasn't my job to invite the council to
And I'm
something
not
that I
accusing
wasn't
you of it
invited
at all
to.
And as liaison, I had no clue that meeting was happening. So
I'm just saying,
tell you
but I think that we all agree that this project needs to be a top priority, and that we need to move forward. So, and I'm not sure that we were getting good communication to us
Absolutely.
from various
That's exactly
areas.
what I'm saying. Is that
But I also think
needs to-
that it is the town manager's job. We shouldn't be the ones reaching out. to
right,
all
we
these
should have been
different
hearing
groups.
from back when Matt on board.
Ryan,
Thank you.
I'm like,
I don't know where that came from, but
That's okay.
yes.
So anyway, all we can do at this point is move forward.
Right,
Okay.
exactly.
With that, anybody else for Counselor Roundtable? Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So,
Motion by Phil, second by Carl, all in favor? Aye. Okay, good night.
Good night.